Hello and welcome to Ani Short Stories. I hope you enjoy this story. I'm going to try and upload a new story each day. The Frozen Frame. Chapter 1: The Studio of Shadows. Victor Lensworth's studio was a sanctuary of light and shadow, a place where creativity danced with precision. Tripods stood like silent sentinels, backdrops hung in soft folds, and cameras, his beloved tools, lined the shelves. But today chaos reigned. Victor lay crumpled on the hardwood floor, a toppled tripod beside him, his lifeless eyes fixed on the ceiling. The air was thick with the sharp tan of darkroom chemicals wafting from an adjacent room. Holly Arnold stepped into the scene, her boots clicking softly against the wood. At 28, she was the youngest detective in a precinct, a title that carried both pride and pressure. Her glasses slipped slightly down her nose as she scanned the room, her hazel eyes catching every detail, the scattered props, the untouched coffee mug, the faint smear of blood near Victor's head. She adjusted her glasses with a practiced flick and turned to the officer hovering nearby. "Forced entry?" she asked. "None, detective. Door was locked from the inside, but we had to break it down. So either Victor let the killer in, or they had a key. Interesting." Her gaze settled on the tripod camera. Intact. Digital. High-end. But Victor was a purist, famous for his film photography, gritty, tactile, real. Then she spotted it, a film camera, small and unassuming, lying near his outstretched hand. She crouched, careful not to disturb the evidence markers, and lifted it with gloved fingers. The weight felt familiar, stirring memories of her college days in the darkroom. "Has this been processed?" she asked. "Not yet. We were waiting for you." Photography had been her minor in college, a passion she tucked away when she joined the force. Now it might be her edge. "I'll handle it." Chapter 2. The precinct's darkroom was a cramped, dim cave, but to Holly it was a haven. She worked alone, the red safe light casting an eerie glow over her focused features. Extracting the film from Victor's camera, she moved with the precision of a surgeon, each step deliberate, each breath measured. The negatives emerged, glistening, and she hung them to dry, her eyes darting across the frames. The early shots were predictable, models in dramatic poses, light sculpted across their forms. Victor's signature style. But the final frame shifted. One captured the empty studio, save for shadow long, distorted, stretching across the floor like a spectre. The next was a blur, the camera jolted mid-shot. Holly's pulse quickened. She zeroed in on the shadow frame. Humanoid, yes, but what by angle and light? She needed clarity. Setting up the enlarger, she adjusted the focus, the contrast, coaxing the image into sharpness. As the print bloomed in the developer tray, she froze. The shadow wore a hat wide-brimmed, like a fedora and a long coat. In its hand, unmistakable, the silhouette of a gun. Holly exhaled a slow hiss. This wasn't just a photo. It was Victor's last act, a desperate, accidental capture of his killer. Chapter 3: The Suspects Emerge. Back at her desk, Holly scribbled a list. Victor's world was tangled with envy and ambition, plenty of motives to go around. Marcus Slade, a rival photographer, all sharp edges and sharper grudges. He'd clashed with Victor over a coveted award. Their feud splashed across industry blogs. Elena Morales, a model, recently axed from Victor's next exhibition. Stunning, poised, but perhaps bitter beneath the polish. Leonard Lensworth, Victor's estranged brother, a reclusive artist who stood to inherit the studio. Blood ties didn't always mean loyalty. Beatrice Wren, an art critic with a venomous pen. Her reviews had shredded Victor's work, calling it soulless. Holly started with Marcus. His studio, a sleek loft a few blocks from Victor's, buzzed with modern minimalism. He looked up from his computer, his lean face tightening as she flashed her badge. "Marcus Slade, that's me. Detective. What's this about? Victor Lensworth's murder. Where were you last night? 8 to 10 p. Damn. Here. Working." His tone was cool, almost rehearsed. "No alibi. Then, you two had a rivalry?" "Yes." "Rivalry. He envied me, but murder. Too pedestrian for my tastes." Holly left. His calm felt like a mask. Chapter 4: A Model's Secrets. Alina Morales met Holly at a bustling cafe, her dark hair cascading over a tailored jacket. She sipped her latte with an elegance that made Holly feel underdressed. "You were dropped from Victor's exhibition," Holly said. "That sting." "Yes, but I got it. My look didn't match his vision. We were fine. Alibi for last night. Fashion show. Ended at 9. Plenty of witnesses. Victor died around 9:30. Tight, but possible. Anyone who'd want him dead. There was this fan. Obsessive sent Victor letters, called his work divine. The creeped him out. Name, no idea. Victor mentioned it in passing. Holly nodded, adding fan. Chapter 5. Family Ties. Leonard Lensworth's apartment was a shrine to the past, dusty negatives, outdated cameras, a faint whiff of neglect. He was a wiry man, shadowed by his brother's fame. "You inherit the studio now." He shrugged. "Maybe. Didn't want it. We hadn't spoken in years. Why? Art. He sold out. Invited into the last night. Gallery opening. Left at 9. Went home. Alone." Holly's instincts hummed. Chapter 6. The Critic's Pen. Beatrice Wren's office was a fortress of books and disdain. She peered over her glasses, unimpressed by Holly's badge. "Your review savage, Victor." "The personal, my job is truth, detective. His work was hollow, but I didn't kill him. Last night, dinner party, colleagues. It ended at 10. Holly checked later. Beatrice was out. Chapter 7. The Obsessed Fan. Victor's mail yielded gold. Letters from your greatest admirer, escalating from praise to fervor. The return address led to Gerald Fink, a twitchy amateur photographer. His apartment was a stalker's lair, walls plastered with Victor's prints. Holly asked, badge out. He nodded, eyes wild. "There's this about Victor. He's dead. Murdered." "No, he was a god last night. Here, making a tribute for him. No alibi. Yet." Chapter 8. The Shadow's Secret. Holly pored over the photo again. The fedora, the checkered coat distinctive. Then she remembered Victor's studio had a costume rack. She raced back, rifling through it. The hat and coat were gone. The killer wore studio clothes. An insider. But who? In the photo's background, a mirror glinted. A hand holding a camera, not Victor's. The killer's hand. Another photographer. Marcus, Leonard, Gerald Volfit. Alina, maybe, with modeling experience. Holly needed more. Chapter 9. The Final Clue. Recreating the scene, Holly stood where Victor had, peering through a spare camera. The angle-aligned door rack shadow. On the floor, a scuff of star-shaped sole print. Marcus's studio flashed in her mind. Custom sneakers, star patterns. Alina wore heels. Leonard's shoes were plain. Gerald's were boots. Marcus. But she needed proof. Chapter 10. The Confrontation. Holly lured Marcus to the precinct. "Show me your photos from last night." He hesitated. One image reflected him in glass fedora, checkered coat. Cut. "But that's you." "No, the model. Save it. The footprint matches your shoes." "I need a lawyer," Officer Swandon. Later, he confessed, a confrontation over stolen ideas, a tripod swung in rage, a panicked cover-up. Epilogue, the picture of guilt. Holly stood outside, the night cool against her skin. Victor's final frame had spoken, and she'd listened. Her first big case solved. More awaited, but tonight, justice was enough. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please don't forget to like, and even better, like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and I hope you have had or have a great day.